What's going on, guys? Duane here with the Uber Driver channel. In this video, I want to talk to you guys about the dark side of driving Uber. Yeah, I said it, the dark side. It's interesting because I've been driving Uber for a little over 2 years, and believe it or not, there are bad things, or should I say, the dark side about driving Uber. In this video, I'm talking about 4 things to be specific. So listen, if you're new to the channel, once again, my name is Duane. On this channel, I talk about how to be successful on Uber. I give you tips and tricks and maybe things to consider so that you can become a better Uber driver. So if you're new, be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, so in this video, like I said, I'm going to be talking about 4 things that are pretty much the dark side of Uber. When you are considering being an Uber driver, or you are an Uber driver already, of course you want to be successful. You want to maximize your time, your energy, your effort, all that good stuff. However, there are some things that come along with being a very successful Uber driver, at least for me. Okay. One of the things that I do know about life is that there are many ways to skin the cat, and so that would apply to the Uber cat, the financial freedom cat, the whatever cat you want to skin. There are many ways to accomplish a particular goal. So this is based on my opinion. Okay, so when it comes to the dark side of driving, the dark side, I don't know why I'm doing that, whatever. When it comes to the dark side of driving Uber, the first thing is the fact that Uber can take a toll on your body. Okay, I'm someone that loves to drive. Driving is fun to me. I started driving when I was probably like 12, and I started to learn how to drive standard back then, and I would, try to change gears as much as I could. I had a small space, but I was really trying to change gears. And so coming from somebody that loves driving, I can tell you I still enjoy driving. I drive quite a bit. But Uber can take a toll on your body, especially if you're driving 12 or even 6 hours straight, right? For some of us, like I actually have a pretty decent routine where I'll drive Uber for a while, and then depending on the time of the day, 10, 11, 12 o'clock, it's probably pretty slow here in Houston, and I'll hit the gym. So thank God I do that, because when I start driving, it's normally 4 o'clock in the morning. And so I'll stop around 10, 11. Okay, well, if I stop at 10, that's 6 hours of me just sitting there. And you would be surprised how much of a toll it takes on your body. So for me, sometimes I'm driving 12, 14, 16 hours. And if the money is good, I mean, I will stay seated a lot of those 16 hours. And so it does take a toll on your body. You may not feel it right away, but if you're a working adult, and depending on the job you have, believe it or not, stress builds. Okay, there are times that I've worked 7 days a week, and 7 days in 1 week, right? Every single day. And of course, the way I feel Monday is one thing, but by the time Wednesday or Thursday rolls around and I'm getting up at 3:45 to start driving at 4 a.m., oh, trust me, my body lets me know that driving Uber has and is taking a toll on my body. So that's the first thing when it comes to the dark side of driving Uber, is the fact that it does take a toll on your body. The second thing is the fact that driving Uber or being an Uber driver can be inconsistent. Okay, just when you think that you finally have it down, you got a little schedule, you know what I mean? Uber can be inconsistent. Now, depending on where you live, that's going to, determine certain things. But what I've learned, and I started driving in January of 2021, didn't really pay attention to what happened in the summer months of 2021 because I felt like it was still booming, but or the summer months in 2022. But I will tell you, in 2023, when school was out, and I don't know if it was the perfect combination of school being out and maybe, people wanted to start driving Uber, because Uber is obviously always trying to get new drivers, because I guess the turnover in regards to drivers are pretty high, right? A lot of people get into driving Uber and they don't know what to expect. They're not even serious. They don't even give it a fair shake, but they're like, Uber's not for me. So driving Uber can be very inconsistent. And so it's very important that you manage your finances accordingly, because when you have a good week driving Uber, that good week is not going to translate to 48 weeks of having that same experience, right? And sometimes what that means is because it's inconsistent, no matter how much you commit to a financial goal daily, let's say your daily financial goal is 250, right? I can tell you on a Tuesday in Houston, you may stay in that car, you may be logged into the Uber app for 16, 18 hours and still not make $250, okay? Just because the traffic may not be there. So Uber can be very inconsistent. That would be the second thing in regards to the dark side of driving Uber. The third thing is the fact that sometimes you have to drive Uber at times that you don't want to drive, okay? And what I simply mean by that is I'll use myself as an example. I start at 4 a.m. Monday through Friday. 4 a.m. is very easy for me because I have a decent experience at 4 a.m. in the morning regarding driving Uber. Now, once again, I do live in Houston, so you got to keep that in mind, okay? If you're in a smaller town, and there's no demand for Uber, it's going to be different for you. However, so Monday through Friday, I start at 4 a.m., okay? I don't necessarily want to start at 4 a.m., but when I started Uber in 2021, I went to the airport and I was waiting for a ride, and I went there early, like rookie move, okay? Now Uber does a better job of telling you kind of when the airports are going to be busy and when there's going to be more flights. When I started, they didn't tell me that, okay? So I went there and there was this guy and he suggested, hey, start at 4 o'clock in the morning. And like, best advice ever. Like, thank God I opened my mouth and asked, this guy that I was talking to, a woman, of course. And so it looked like he was putting her on game. So I went over and I said, hey man, it looked like XYZ, how long have you been driving? And he, I don't remember what he said, but he told me to start at 4. So once again, one of the things that absolutely sucks or can be the dark side of driving Uber is the fact that you do have to drive at times you don't want to drive.
Message!
Okay, I don't want to drive at 4 per se, but there's a demand at that time. I certainly don't want to drive like at night. Like I don't want to do like 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Even though there's probably money there, I just don't want to deal with certain aspects of driving Uber when it comes to like people smoking or people drinking. I don't drink or smoke, so when I have somebody that comes in the car and they smell like smoke, cigarette or weed or whatever, or someone that comes in the car that just smells absolutely disgusting, nothing to do with weed or drinking, it can be tricky. And so I just don't even like the experience of having somebody smell like alcohol or, smoking. And of course, driving Uber, that's going to happen. It's just inevitable. But if I drive from 10 p.m. To 4 a.m., I'm definitely going to get a lot of interesting riders. And it's like a complete different job. Like the stories, what you hear from people is completely different. And so I don't want to deal with that. So I absolutely would rather get up at 4 a.m. and thug it out then than to drive at 10 p.m. to like 3 or 4 in the morning, even though there might be better money there, okay? To me, it's not necessarily worth it because, your safety is important. If somebody throws up or whatnot in your car, I've driven Uber for over 2.5 years and I've never experienced somebody throwing up in my car, knock on wood. Hopefully I won't experience it, okay? So that would be the third thing that absolutely kind of sucks, or that is the third, like the dark side of Uber, right? When it comes to driving Uber. The fourth thing is the fact that with Uber, one of the things that absolutely sucks, and I consider the dark side, is the fact that driving Uber will probably take away time from your family and friends. Now, I'm talking about if you're driving Uber as a full-time gig. Driving Uber as a full-time gig is going to be tricky, right? Because once again, you're going to need proper care of your finances for the times that it may be slow. And the summers are probably a slow time, to be honest with you, right? Of course, you have to live and learn type of thing. But taking time away from your family and friends is absolutely one of the dark things, or the dark side about driving Uber, because for me personally, I have had so many days where I'm logged into the Uber app for 12 to 14 to 16 hours. Now, it may not be worth it. It's questionable. Some of the most successful weeks that I've had driving Uber, and I made good money, at the end of it, I'm like, I don't know if it was worth it. Like, it feels good, especially when the money's deposited into my account. That's certainly one of the things I love about Uber is they pay us weekly, right? So it feels good when the money's deposited into my account. But when I, think about the time that it will take away from my family and friends, and not really so much friends. Like, I don't hang out with friends that much. I mean, I have friends, of course, but I don't like they're like, hey, let's go kick it. I'm like, I'm good, which I should be better at. But family time is a tricky one, okay? So you just have to kind of prioritize. I mean, it really just kind of depends on how much you need to make money, and how many bills you have to pay, that type of thing. So being financially smart and responsible is absolutely imperative. Not because you're an Uber driver, but just because, like, you have to create opportunities for yourself to have financial freedom, hopefully one day, and being smart in how you manage your money is going to help you to create financial freedom. Or if you don't get to that point, it will certainly help you have choices. The reason why I care about having money is because it gives me choices. It allows me to travel. It allows me to work or not work, right? So once again, in this video, I was talking about the 4 things, the dark side of driving Uber, and I kind of went over 4 things. And things that I talked about was the fact that, number 1, driving Uber takes a toll on your body, especially the longer you drive. Number 2, Uber can be very inconsistent, okay? Depending on the season, depending on the time of the day, it can be very inconsistent, and you can't really, line up a set schedule per se sometimes, or a set income, because it can be inconsistent. What I will say is you win the race by being consistent, okay? And the third thing is sometimes you have to drive at times that you don't want to. For me, that would be like in the night. I don't ever want to drive at night, and I really don't do a lot of night driving. But if you don't want to wake up at 4 a.m. or whatever's going on in your life and you can't sacrifice to get up early, it might be easier to drive late. So once again, you have to drive at times that you don't want to. And the fourth thing that is interesting when it comes to driving Uber, or the dark side of Uber, is the fact that Uber will take time away from your family and friends, okay? But all in all, someone that drives Uber pretty much full time, I have a positive experience just because I think it's really cool and it allows me to have my own schedule. All right, that's going to be it for this video. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up. It helps the channel tremendously. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to subscribe. All right, once again, my name is Duane and I approve this video. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, take care and be blessed. Peace.